went through significant illness in 2016, and part of the reason how that got so complicated was because by the time I was going to class and then getting around campus and taking care of all of the extensive health needs that I now had at that point and subsequently still have, I was only getting about an hour a day of my life to do whatever else needed to get done, whether that be my homework or actually getting to eat that day. Those were the kind of sacrificing choices that I was making. The support that I subsequently built after that to allow me to just have a little time back. You know, having more than just 20 minutes to study for a test because I can't change the fact that I have 14 health problems, or that I had to learn the material 15 times because I had 12 seizures this week and I can't remember what I learned on Monday. So ultimately, I think OSU and I really took a chance on each other of, okay, you don't fit the traditional mold, but how do we make sure that you still get that traditional quality education that OSU is known for?
OSU created what is now Student Life Disability Services in 1974 in response to the Rehabilitation Act, and it was the Office of Physically Disabled. So the difference between that and Student Life Disability Services tells you something about the evolution of the office and OSU's approach to dealing with individuals with disabilities.
Disability services began really focusing on making sure that physical accessibility on campus was something that was addressed for students that had mobility issues. But nowadays, the vast majority of students that we're serving actually have hidden or invisible disabilities that may not be related to mobility. And so we serve students with a lot of disabilities such as learning disabilities or ADHD or mental health conditions and other types of diagnoses like chronic medical conditions.
So I registered with Disability Services the day I entered college, because having a lifelong disability, it's like, well, that isn't going to change. It's going to be there every day of college. They are fantastic about the services that they offer. You know, if you need testing accommodations, if you need help getting a note taker, those are all fantastic things that they provide. And I definitely would not be at this institution if we didn't have SLDS, although at the time that I started they were called ODS.
When I first registered with the Disability Services Office, I knew that I would need something like a reduced course load accommodation, and that accommodation was not streamlined like so many others are. It was unique, and it was the first time the office had worked with something like that. I remember my access specialist, he said something along the lines of, policies are put in place to support people, not the other way around. And when a policy isn't working for people, policies are meant to be changed.
So we have about 4,000 students with disabilities who are working with our Disability Services Office. So I know there's some that do not work with that office. I'd like to think they're all not working with that office because our environment and our approach is so accessible that they don't need to, and I know for some people that's true. I also know there's still a fair amount of stigma out there, and that for some of our students, they don't want to disclose disabilities. We have just under 2,000 faculty and staff are actively getting accommodations and have identified themselves and work with our integrated disability office in human resources. And that's a team we've developed over the last 10 years as the number of employees willing to identify themselves and make requests have come up.
When I think about parts of our institution like Scott Listener and the ADA Coordinator's Office, I have an immense amount of respect for them, as I do for Disability Services, because again, I wouldn't be here without them. But especially in Scott's case, I, without a doubt, know that I would not be sitting here as the winner of a President's Prize or a finalist for the Alliance for the American Dream or about to get a diploma, and I could not put that into words, the amount of impact that all of that has had on me.
In a lot of ways, we're in the forefront, but the world is an evolving place, and I don't think you ever get there entirely. Universal design is a great approach and a great goal, but on the other hand, I have nothing in my closet that says one size fits all in it, because one size almost fits all, right? So there's always something new.
That can be frustrating to hear that there's no exactly right path, the exact right thing you could do, but I think the mindset of caring about access is really what is important, and caring about inclusion and what that brings to the table. What value does including people have?
It's about trying to impact culture on this campus, trying to get it to the point where faculty, staff, students, they all can collaborate together without having to have an intermediary office coming in to explain why it's important that we're accommodating.
I want to see OSU be a leader of what an accessible campus could truly look like, beyond regulations, beyond the ADA. Like, what does that truly look like? The classrooms of the future, spaces of the future, what does that look like? And I don't think we're quite there yet, but I think we could certainly get there.